Hey everyone, and welcome to Smartlands Media. Thank you for always tuning in. I am your host, Florence Oiti. Today we are delving into a crucial conversation about journalism in rural areas. While journalists play a big role in shaping our understanding of the world, they go through a lot of challenges starting from limited resources to cultural beliefs, connectivity issues. These are the things we want to discuss. We want to see the challenges, we want to highlight some of the possible solutions, and of course, echo the resilience of journalists who work so hard to give us the daily news and other media content. Today, we are delighted to have one of the journalists who work in rural areas. We will welcome him to the studio and he will introduce himself, say a word, and tell us where you work.
Okay. Thank you so much for the invitation and the opportunity that you've given me today. My name is Brian Odhiambo. I'm a field journalist based in Homa Bay County. So I cover rural areas and just as you've said, there are a lot of things that we go through. Yeah.
For how long have you been covering news in rural areas?
Let me say I have an experience of now about 5 years covering these stories actually. Before even we continue, it's good. I really appreciate this whatever you are doing because most of the times journalists tell stories of other people, but we rarely tell our stories. But I'm so happy that you brought me here so that at least I can enlighten on maybe the things that we go through.
The pleasure is all mine. So, before you came to, you said which county are you based in?
Homa Bay County.
Before you came to Homa Bay County, which county did you start working?
I've worked in Migori County, and now Migori County and Homa Bay County, these are interior places, and that's why I'm well conversant with whatever journalists go through in the rural areas. Yes.
For the years that you've been working in Migori and Homa Bay, what are some of the challenges you've faced as a journalist?
For us, there are a lot of challenges that journalists go through. You know, sometimes you might see someone maybe on TV or hear a journalist broadcasting on radio, but sometimes you hear them, you hear someone is in a good mood, or when you're watching someone, you see this person, like, you even admire their life, but behind them, you don't know what these people are going through. First of all, if I just begin with, journalists in the rural areas are the people, I can say that they are the core of what journalism is. They're the people who go through because they go deep into the villages. They go deep looking for stories which sometimes maybe someone who is maybe the editors or those people who broadcast there at the station might not go through now. One, sometimes you find a lot of hostilities in the areas where we go to cover the stories. You might find that I'm in Homa Bay, for example. Most of the times I operate from Homa Bay town. And Homa Bay as a whole, first, is very big. We have different areas. Now sometimes it reaches a point you find that people start to say that why just so much into certain area or a particular area, yet we also want this coverage. Just a good example, there is Rusinga. Rusinga, there are islands in those areas. Sometimes you might even take a month, you've not even visited the areas. The accessibility, that is one. Because sometimes you have a story to tell in Homa Bay or even in Kabondo. Kabondo, from Kabondo to Rusinga, it's very far. So sometimes you find that something is happening in Kabondo, you go to cover that story. At the same time, you get a call. Yes, we need you to come and do for us a story to sing. What will you do? So that alone, the accessibility of the areas, it's a problem. Two, we have cultural beliefs. I will still use an example because this is the area that I cover. Homa Bay County is along the lake regions, the lakeside. So you find, for example, when you're doing stories about fishermen, they have their own beliefs that they believe in. You find that, for example, as a journalist who is a lady, there are some things you have to, or there are some extent you have to go so that your story looks good. But here is a case where you find that you've been told by the fishermen that you're not even supposed to step into that boat. Because they have beliefs. They believe that if you do that, I just say it's a myth, that if you do that, maybe the harvest that day will not even be, they will not find fish, or maybe the fishing activity will not go well with them. So such things, they limit you from telling a story from the angle that you wanted to tell your story. So these are some of the challenges that people go through. Again, yes.
Just before you continue, you talk about hostility.
Yes.
Where does hostility come in and how?
Okay, hostile environments, for example, you will find that here you are a journalist who has never even stepped into the lake, you know?
Yes, yes.
And now you've been posted in an area like Homa Bay where I cover. I will use an example of Homa Bay most of the times because that's where I cover. You've been taken to that place. We want you to use the boat maybe to a different area, you go to an island or what. You've never stepped on this thing. The environment alone is hostile to you. You fear. You don't even. So sometimes you force yourself because the story is needed. It's an assignment you've been given. You force yourself to go. Reaching the place, you tensed. You don't even know how to start the story from. You know. So that is one of the hostile environment that we have. Again, the people. Sometimes the people become so hostile to us as journalists.
Yes.
You reach a place. These people, they see you like. Sometimes they see you as a stranger, sometimes they see you as if you've gone to interfere with their way of living, kind of.
Yes.
They're just seeing you as a dangerous person. You reach a place, you want to go and do a story, no one is even ready to talk to you. In some places, you can even be chased away. I've experienced, there was an area that we went, I will not mention, we were chased. Because they were seeing as if we're going to interfere with their programs. Yet, we are also just doing our job. Sometimes people don't even, maybe they have their differences there. You've been called to go and do a story. But they take their differences, they include you in it.
In the case where you're being chased, are you going to cover something that is done by a particular group of people that is illegal, or is it just a normal thing but they don't want it covered?
Sometimes it's illegal. Maybe they're doing something illegal, but to them, they believe that this is what they benefit from. Sometimes it's just a normal story, but themselves, the people in the community, they have their differences. That's why I was telling you, sometimes they involve you into it, not knowing that you're just a journalist. And again, maybe this area you're covering, it's the area where you come from.
Yes, yes.
It's another big challenge. Because these people will see you as Onyango, whom they know. They don't want to see you as maybe
the son of so-and-so.
Yeah, they see you as son of so-and-so, whom they grew up with. So they don't want to see you as a journalist who has come to do a story. So it becomes so hard. Sometimes even the stories, you start doing a story, someone tells you, Onyango, you know these things, you see? They don't give you the story that you're supposed to get. They tell you that you know. Huh? So those are some of the challenges. There are so many, but those are just some of them.
You mentioned something about a cultural belief.
Yes.
Or about women or journalists that are female journalists, that they can't board a boat, something like that. Just in a nutshell, can you tell us what are some of the challenges that are faced by female journalists, especially in the area that you come from?
Okay, I'll just speak on their behalf because we work with them. and sometimes I see what they go through. Even though I'm not a woman, but I see whatever they go through. These people, most of the young ladies in the industry, they go through a lot. For example, you find that maybe a lady, a journalist, a young journalist who is a lady, working from the field. Maybe you've been given an assignment that you are supposed to cover a certain story. This your story, you need some authorities, you know. You need to get authentication from some of the authorities or offices. And nowadays, I don't know what's happening. Most of the officers, whenever a lady goes for a story, the first thing they see you as they want to seduce you. So with that mindset, this person will not even listen to whatever you want, the information that you want from him.
Yes.
or I. So this is a challenge to these young ladies, and I'll just request our officers, please give these people time, give them that opportunity, so that they can get the info. They're also doing their job just the same way you are in the office doing your job. Just give them an opportunity. They ask you those questions. Give them the information if you have them. At the moment they start doing this, be rest assured that you're not even going to get your story, because sometimes he will just give the lady a little bit of the story, so that later you get that you don't have the full information. When you try to call now, the story is different. It's no longer the story that you went for.
Yes.
So that is one of the stories that these are our ladies face nowadays. In fact, it's the major one. They really go through a lot. And again, apart from that, sometimes they're being taken advantage of. You find that, ladies generally, they are weak. So our men, when you go for such coverages, for example, if violence arise maybe where you went somewhere, you will find that these ladies, the way these ladies will be maybe treated, it's different from the men. You might end up mnapigwa vibaya sana because you're weak. Maybe the men that you went with might run away, but sometimes as a lady you might not find that chance.
Okay, so what do you think can be done to journalists in the rural setups so that they can find a good environment to work, somewhere they can work freely, somewhere they can work without stretching so much and getting stories that are worth listening or viewing?
It's a little bit tricky, but I'll just say that journalists need to be given time. Like, we need to give them their space. This one goes to the society. These people are playing a very, very important role in the society. Remember, it is journalists, we journalists, who connect you, or we are the voice of the community.
Yes.
We are the voice to the voiceless. Something that maybe you have an information or you have something in the society that's disturbing you. The people who can air this for you, or who can make this information reach the relevant authorities are the journalists. Or maybe something is happening in a certain area. Without the journalists, it might not even be known, and maybe it's something bad that can make the community to continue rotting. So, being that these people play such an important role, we need to give them their space to do their work. Let us not limit them. Let us not maybe look at them in a different way. Let us give the journalists an opportunity, because we are the face and we are the voice. So if you kill the face, that good face, or that which you can communicate with, or the voice that communicates for you, you are dead. Again, we have an issue right now with the journalists. The problem that journalists face now with their employers the issue of payment of their salaries. It's a big issue right now. And that's why sometimes you find that people even fear to work. I'll just give a good example of our local radio stations. These people no longer pay journalists. You find that someone can even work for close to 6 months without a single pay. And remember this person, but at the moment you start working as a media practitioner, remember your name grows. Now you become famous. And people always believe that famous people, they have money.
So your name grows big and your
Big
pocket
and
grows
bigger,
smaller.
your pocket there is nothing. You're walking outside there, they say, hey, this is so and so, she works at a certain radio station.
Yes.
They know you, but you have nothing. Kwa mfuko. So it's another challenge. If you know that you're capable of coming up with a radio station or a media station, please ensure that you're good enough financially to pay these people. Usiwatese. Don't let them struggle. At least make them feel that we are journalists. Make that person feel that I'm working and I'm worth it. So these are still what we face.
I want to take this opportunity to thank you so much and echo your work, because it's never easy to go somewhere looking for stories and you be chased and you still manage to get the stories. You go somewhere to get stories and they tell you, no, you covered us last time badly, this time we're not giving you any information.
Yeah.
But still you give us what we can listen to, you give us what we can watch. That's a good job that we must upload.
A message to my fellow journalists. Please, let us not fear anything. Let us tell our stories the same way we tell other people's stories. Because if you don't do, who will talk on our behalf? Thank you so much for watching.
Asante sana.